Welcome back to the Landy B channel. Performance issues we're going to talk about a little now. You got an ATV or UTV? Well, we're going to say an ATV or a dirt bike because a lot of UTVs are now fuel injected. And you think because it runs rough that it might be the carburetor. Not always the case. Two tools. If you have cleaned your carburetor numerous times like I have, and I actually went out and bought a new carburetor because I ran the symptoms by my friends who are better mechanics than I am, and they all said that it was the carburetor. So I couldn't find a used carburetor, so I had to buy a brand new one, and that set me back quite a bit, quite $400, when it was never the carburetor at all. I ran some tests, and everything else checked out. The pickup coil checked out. The coil pack checked out. The stator checked out. I was getting spark. I grounded it out to the body of the ATV. And I was getting bright spark. That was my downfall. You see, there's supposed to be a certain shade of spark. And I'm sure you guys are going to laugh at me. And no, the brighter the spark, the better. Well, no, not exactly. Think about what happens to a light bulb right before it blows out. It gets what? Brighter. Brighter until it's gone. My theory is this is no different. Okay? So, with that being said, I was getting really bright spark, and then I was always getting backfiring issues. Now, I've replaced everything, and when I tell you everything, I mean everything. From, I even replaced the camshaft. I was having a crank no start issue. That's what I was having. And it was backfiring through the exhaust, and everybody says it was my valve flash. Well, I checked that valve flash every which way to Sunday, checked it numerous times. I've even wasted money on a camshaft because it was out of spec. It was way beyond its service limit. So I thought, sure, why not? I'll just buy a new cam while I'm at it. So I did. Still the same problem. Crank no start. Well, finally I replaced the last and least expensive thing on the list. The spark plug. Popped a new one in. Fucker fired right up like nothing. So, to all the riders out there, if you're going to sell your bike, don't fuck with people and make sure that it's exactly the carb before you sell anything. Do a complete diagnostics on it. You know, if you suspect it's the carb and you've cleaned the carb, and then the bike still runs like shit, then chances are it's an electrical issue, not the carburetor. I don't know how many times people told me, it's the carb, it's the carb, it's the carb. I've even taken it to professional garages, and they've said, it's the carb. Or I ran it by professional garages, and they said, it sounds like the carb. Well, it's all well and good. First thing to check when you're having any kind of performance issues is this. Don't assume it's the carburetor just because you're going up a hill and you die. I've ran through these NGK plugs because I fucked up on my own quad with less than a month. I put my last spark plug in at 9/12. September 12th, and before October 12th, I already had to put a new plug in. But that was only my fault because I did a performance mod to my Lakota, and it was causing my plugs to foul like crazy. Matter of fact, I'll even tell you, I put washers under my needle. So, make sure your plug is properly gapped, because when I first started getting into gapping plugs, my book said 0.6, and what I thought it meant was 0.06. And I was gapping them. kind of like this thin. This paper thin. I was literally gapping them that thin. And I wasn't getting nowhere. I wouldn't even leave my garage without it bouncing off the rev limiter. Like, it was pretty bad. So, and then I read it correctly, and it was 0.6 to 0.7. You see, I didn't read that right. I thought 0.06. It was 0.60. So I set my plug in between, I set my Lakota plugs at 0.65. It's in the happy medium of 0.6 and 0.7. And after that, it was all smooth sailing. So before you just diagnose a carburetor issue, do yourself and us a favor and at least make 100% sure that it is in fact a carburetor issue. Go out, get yourself a multimeter, do a bunch of tests. Make sure it's not your pickup coil. Make sure it's not your stator. Make sure it's not your coil pack. Make sure it's not your regulator rectifier. I mean, I've got manuals for just about every ATV, and I'm getting more by the week. You know, I'm planking down the money to get these manuals, so when you guys come to me for a problem, I will be able to help you with it. Like I said, stay muddy and make sure those machines stay clean. So, till next time, it's a quick tip.